I want to take this opportunity to pretty much get into some details onto why I will not be streaming very much next week. So, this means that the rest of next week is going to be a break from making individual content. And what I mean by individual content means that I am pretty much going to take a week off from streaming on my Samaroni YouTube channel as well as on my Twitch. And here is the reasons onto why I say this. To start things off, Wednesday nights it is usually family stuff that I would have to deal with, given the fact that I have been living with my mom and stepdad since I turned 18 years old. And as for other stuff that I do want to get out of the way, August 10th is going to be a Five Nights at Freddy's watch along, which it's going to start at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Which, speaking of, for those who want to participate in the Five Nights at Freddy's watch along, I will leave a link to the Discord server in question on where it'll take place in the description down below. And while we're at it, I also plan on hosting a Fall Guys community night August 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So this means that there's two community-based events that I do plan on hosting, which I was originally planning on doing one stream, and I was like, you know what? Let's have the community night as part 2 of a birthday stream, and have part 1 be a big Among Us collaboration, which I will neither confirm nor deny who all is going to be participating, so that's a whole other question on its own. And as for August 11th, we are going to be recording episode 45 of the All Things Nerdy podcast. And then the week after, we have episode 46. And then after next week, well, my brain is not braining, but you get what I'm trying to say. At the end of the month, we are going to record episode 48 of the podcast, and then we are going to be taking a 2-month break. And here's where that point comes into play. For my reasoning onto why the 2-month break is going to be needed is because if I host the All Things Nerdy podcast throughout September and October, and at the same time focus on horror gaming content, I'm gonna burn myself out. Especially given the fact that I have been on the grind to 1,000 YouTube subs and 1,000 Twitch follows at the same time. So it's going to be exhausting as hell to grind that hard and host the podcast at the same time. So it's a good thing that I'm getting one step at a time before I lock in on everything else. So I hope that you're understanding on to why I say this. And as for other stuff that I do want to talk about, August 13th is when B Major and Demon Lord Tank are going to be doing a Liar's Bar stream. It's just, we're not 100% sure who the fourth person is going to be yet, but I'll say this much. We are talking about the idea of collaborating with somebody. It's just the question is, who would we collaborate with? It's a wait and see deal. And then August 14th to the 16th, we have 24 Hours Together part 2 for the Buddies channel, which part 1 was at John's place, which, speaking of both John, aka Blind Tech, and Angel, aka Gabe the Dead Fish. Angel has his game studio, Steelfish Studios, and John has his business, Blind Tech PCs. And Shane also has two jobs outside of being a content creator. So this means that September and October is going to give us a break, and then we'll be back swinging in November. Which, speaking of stuff that's going to happen later this year, I'm getting Twitch panels that I have recently commissioned, and I am also going to get a reactive PNG soon by another artist that I am friends with. The other artist that I have commissioned, it's somebody that I've been following for quite a while now. Which, speaking of, if you're watching this video, you know who you are. I'm glad that I was able to commission you. And outside of content stuff, I have been working on ideas on what I want to do for Investigator's Revenge. And then after Investigator's Revenge is done, we are pretty much going to go back into the writing of Cyborg Assassin 2 Project Resurrection. And then Paranormal Slayer 2 is going to be finished, and then other projects that I have planned out for 2027, like for example, the Galactical Folklore Saga, the Eternal Rescuer Saga, and My Own Problems, which are projects for the Mirrorgate universe, is what I do want to work on. But here's the thing about the sagas. I'm not going to be alone in the work in progress. And what I mean by that is that I want to collaborate with other writers that I have known for a while. Like for example, with Ben, aka B Major, he and I are going to collaboratively work together on Disc Fighter and the World's Brawl series, which, speaking of the World's Brawl series, what I have been doing is that while we have the story on hold, I have been working on ideas on what we could do with the characters in question, specifically their super move ideas, including for guest characters if we were to get that guest character in question. Because let's say, for example, with other Mindstorm Creations media characters, Stephen Nikolai, also known as Gunblade from the Squad of Heroes, can easily make it into the game, given the fact that he shares the same writer, but he is from a different universe. Same case with Ryan Moonson, also known as Ezreal from Renovation, James Johnson, aka Rogue from Alien Hunters, Jinrix Thorgnak, also known as Gear from Out of Order, Alice Brittany from Ninja Maid, credit to Maximilian Dude for the title idea, and Aaron Harrison from Cowboy Ninja. Those characters can easily make it into the game. So, if I was to talk about guest character ideas, it would be third-party characters, not Mindstorm Creations media characters. So, just a little something I want to clarify for if you want to hear ideas, which that can be a whole other deal on its own. And as for what other content I do plan on doing later down the line, if you want to support somebody who has been in the game for 5.5 years working on milestones, it would be very much appreciated. And for those who stuck around until the end to hear me out, thank you for doing so. It is very much appreciated because of the fact that I felt burnt out from the lack of motivation to stream. because of the fact that my sleep has been not great. And as far as the rest of the deal goes, that is a whole other question on its own. So, as far as other content goes, I'll keep you updated next time you see me.